Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something called conscious strategy. We're going to weave together some pretty cool ideas from business, philosophy, and even sports, all to figure out one thing. How do we stop running on a wheel someone else built and start, actually choosing our own path?
Okay, so let's kick things off with this piece of wisdom from the legendary basketball coach George Raveling. He says success in pretty much anything boils down to two simple things: relationships and listening. Now I know, that sounds basic, but trust me, this idea, it's the bedrock for everything we're about to unpack.
You might be thinking, a basketball coach? Really? What's that got to do with surviving in today's world? And hey, that's a fair question. But as you're about to see, the ability to truly listen, not just to other people, but to the systems all around us, well, that's the one skill that separates the players from the ones getting played.
So, what happens when we fail to listen? When we don't see the bigger picture? Well, that's how we end up in a trap that author Seth Godin so perfectly calls the hamster's wheel.
Godin basically argues that anytime you encounter a system, and I mean anything, from social media to your job to the government, you really only have three choices. You can consciously use it to get what you want, you can try to change it, or, and this is the default for most of us, you can just be used by it.
And this slide right here, this is a perfect illustration of what being used looks like. For years, businesses poured fortunes into mastering Google's rules for SEO. They really thought they were making smart, strategic choices. But really, Google was the one setting the entire game board. They were just playing by rules somebody else wrote for them.
And that leads us to Godin's absolute killer of a metaphor. When you're working your tail off inside a system without ever stopping to question the system itself, well, you're not an employee. You're an unpaid hamster on someone else's wheel. You're running and running, getting exhausted, but really, you're just powering their machine.
Now, this whole hamster wheel thing, it isn't just a problem for businesses. Oh no. It's a symptom of a much, much bigger societal shift, something the legendary management consultant Peter Drucker called crossing the Great Divide.
Drucker noticed that history isn't some smooth, straight line. It's got these massive, sharp turns in it. In just a few decades, the whole world can rearrange itself so completely that the new reality is literally unimaginable to the people who came before. And guess what? We're living through one of those transformations right now.
This slide shows the trap perfectly. Most of us, and especially our leaders, are still obsessed with yesterday's issues. We're arguing about problems that have already been solved, or frankly, don't even matter anymore, because we're missing the new realities that have already happened, but just haven't been fully accepted yet.
So how in the world do you spot these new realities before they're staring everyone in the face? Well, it brings us right back to where we started, with Coach Raveling. It takes deep listening and real relationships. Those are the skills that let you hear the faint signals of the future that everyone else is just writing off as, background noise.
But here's the thing. This kind of deep listening, it's not just some external skill you can learn. It has to start from the inside. And that brings us to what the great novelist Leo Tolstoy, who was borrowing from the Stoics, called our inner compass. So Tolstoy, taking a page from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, said that we all have these two cells inside us. There's the flesh, right? That's the part driven by our basic material needs, our survival instincts, our hunger for instant gratification. And then there's the soul, or spirit, and that's the part guided by higher needs, things like purpose, truth, and connection.
The whole idea here is about who's in the driver's seat. When our soul, our higher purpose, is in charge, we can navigate the world consciously. But when our flesh, our fear, our greed, our short-term needs is calling the shots, we become incredibly easy for outside systems to capture and manipulate.
And this right here is the critical link. A person who is only listening for threats and opportunities to their immediate material self, they're basically death. They can't hear the bigger patterns. They can't see the rules of the larger game being played all around them. And that makes them the absolute perfect hamster for somebody else's wheel.
Okay, so if we need to develop this inner awareness, how do we actually do it? Well, it takes a pretty fundamental shift in how we approach things. We have to move from a mindset of just motion to one of genuine mastery.
Fitness expert Chip Conrad has this perfect analogy for this. He says a lot of people go to the gym with the goal of getting tired. They think all that sweat and exhaustion is progress, but the real goal should be to build skills. Being tired is just a byproduct of patiently, consistently building real capability. And it's the exact same thing with strategy.
What this all boils down to is that true mastery of a skill, of a strategy, of yourself,
It requires you to completely reject the idea of a shortcut. It demands patience. It demands consistency. It means being willing to take the long, hard way, because that's the only place real learning and real growth actually happen.
And when we commit to this inner work, when we finally choose mastery over just motion, something really incredible starts to happen. We stop playing the hamster's game. We graduate to playing a bigger game.
And here we are with our second legendary coach, John Wooden, who just nails the key insight. Playing big has nothing to do with how much money you have or your job title or your resources. It's all about the level of consciousness and intention you bring to whatever it is you're doing.
This slide just puts the ultimate choice right in front of us. Playing small means letting the system use you, letting the algorithm dictate your strategy, or letting the quarterly reports kill your long-term vision. Playing big means seeing the system for what it is and then making a conscious, strategic choice about how you're going to engage with it.
And Seth Godin just ties this all together perfectly. A strategy isn't some boring document you write and put in a drawer. It's a state of mind. It's an active, cultivated awareness of the change you're trying to make and the systems around you that can either help you or get in your way.
Which leaves us with this one last critical question to think about. I mean, really think about it. Look at all the systems that shape your day, your job, your social media, the news you consume. Take a hard look and ask yourself, honestly, are you consciously using them or are they unconsciously using you?